Before the diaspora, a scattering of African blacks, Europeans considered black Africans to be exotic, exciting, but not necessarily inferior. As more and more European nations became slave traders and began to enjoy the wealth that it produced, Europeans came to classify Africans as stupid, uncivilized, and less than human. They used all reasoning at their disposal to justify why whites treated blacks like no other human beings on earth. So that's the origin of slavery. That's where it came from. That's why American slavery was different from slavery that had been done previously in other nations. Blacks were here before the Mayflower. The first blacks arrived in America much earlier than typically reported in history books, probably as early as 1526. In the summer of 1526, 500 Spaniards and 100 black slaves founded a town near the mouth of the PD River in what is now South Carolina. Most of the members of this group were killed off by diseases and fights with local Indians. Matters worsened for the Spaniards when in November of the same year, the slaves rebelled, killed many of their white masters, and escaped into the wilderness to live with the Indians. The approximately 150 remaining Spaniards then abandoned the settlement and retreated to Haiti. The black slaves that they left behind undoubtedly joined and interbred with the local Indian tribes. Their mixed offspring awaited the arrival of the European settlers who came nearly a century later. A public edict laid the foundation for racism. This is interesting. Before the Maryland colony came into existence in 1634, newly arrived European whites and African blacks intermingled and socialized reasonably well. In 1638, however, the Maryland colony issued a public edict encouraging a separation of the races. It became the basis of public policy for race relations in America. The Council for the Maryland Colony Edict stated that, quote, neither the existing black population, their descendants, nor any other blacks shall be permitted to enjoy the fruits of white society, end quote. The public edict later became more commonly known as the Doctrine of Exclusion. So that's when it began in Maryland. They decided, hey, let's just make a law and just say, if you're black, you can't be free. Because you're black, you're going to be a slave. That's it. And that became the law of the land. So this is when they talk about systematic racism. To me, this fits the category because you're talking about systems designed that specifically exclude black people from opportunity, freedom, and possibility.